Diggy Cat here from Vuff Cup, going out of his comfort zone, doing something that I've never done before. So this is going to be interesting. For the foreseeable future, I can't really see myself doing another video like this, but today is the 40th anniversary of the Rolling Stones album, Dirty Work. 40 years ago today it came out, and I wanted to make a video highlighting it and reviewing it. Now, a lot of you are probably asking, out of all the albums in the world, why Dirty Work? That's a great question. Before we get into that, like I said, I've never done a video like this, so I'm going to get into some legal things first. Now, in the description, I will have timestamps. So if you want to skip this boring part, that is completely fine. But I'm just doing this because I am going to be using little snippets of their songs to highlight what I'm talking about. But also in the description, I'm going to be putting a full playlist of the albums and the album and the songs that I'm talking about from the direct official YouTube accounts that they have. So this video should be earning them more money. That's kind of the plan, because I want people to go back and re-listen. Anyway, let's get into the 4 examples of fair use. So the 4 examples here when using copyrighted music. 1 is criticism/review. Yes, this is a review, and there is going to be criticism, let me tell you. Commentary, plenty of commentary. News reporting, well, it was news when the album came out 40 years ago, and it was reported when the album came out 40 years ago. 4, educational. This is going to be really educational. And then it says you may or may not qualify to use the copyrighted music as fair use, even under these. So I'm just putting that out there. Another one that I want to go through is, it says what is fair use and how to apply to, this is for, again, using copyrighted content. So purpose and character of use. Is the use transformational, offering new insights, commentary, or critiques? Yes, 100%, because I think a lot of people that think of Dirty Work have negative negativity connected to it, right? Because it's often on the low end of the rankings of the best of, and so I don't think a lot of people go back and listen to that album properly. Nature of the original work. Is the original highly creative or more factual? Well, it's going to be factual, but I'm presenting it in a creative way. Let's see, amount used. Is the quantity of the original material used reasonable in relation to the purpose? Yes, I believe it is, because I am not saying, hey, listen to this, and then it playing more than what I am highlighting. I'm just playing exactly what I'm talking about. And in fact, that's going to be underneath my voice. That's coming up in a bit. Effect on the market. Does the use negatively impact the market for the original content? So, is me playing copyrighted music going to be taking away from their sales and their streams? It is designed to do the complete opposite. This video is designed for people to listen to what my reviews, my commentary, and go, you know what? I need to go back and listen to Dirty Work again. And maybe I need to buy that album again. You know what? I'm going to add some of those songs to my playlist, as well as the other songs that I'm talking about in here. So yes, I want you to go back. I want you to be moved to go back to listen to the album Dirty Work by the Rolling Stones, as well as the other songs that I'm talking about. And again, those are going to be in a playlist in the description. So this will positively impact the market of the original content. Let's see, we're almost done here. Thank you. Key legal takeaways. And this is from, what is it from? It is from odinlaw.com. And it says, transformative use matters. Adding commentary, critique, or original expression is vital. Passive pause and comment without transformation is riskier. So I am not going to be saying, hey, listen to this guitar solo, and then breaking for you to just hear the guitar solo snippet. No. It's going to be underneath my commentary. If you want to listen to it, dive in, which I encourage, you listen to the song. And then the artist gets paid for you listening to the song. Music is a hotspot. It says here that Content ID's automated enforcement is merciless. Edit, mute, or prepare to share revenue. Well, these artists should be getting more revenue, so yes, you can share with me. I'm totally fine with that. We can talk about that. Timing of fair use analysis. Copyright owners must evaluate fair use before issuing takedown notices or risk legal under lens. Okay, so that's for the copyright owners. And then I think there's one more here. Here we go. So it says here that creators should consider, and this is also from Odin Law and Media, aiming for short targeted excerpts that complement commentary or critique. That's exactly what we're doing. Transforming context as opposed to simply replaying content. Again, yes, I'm not going to be pausing and saying, listen to this, and then just replay the content for you. If you want to hear it, gotta go and listen to the official song. And then there was another one here. We're talking about monetization, right? Sharing the revenue. So I just want to put here really quickly that with this YouTube that it's on, we are not monetized. We are not anywhere close to being monetized. So as of March 24th, 2026, this is our eligibility for being monetized, okay? We need one of each, and there's 4 things, and we only have one. So we need 500 subscribers. We have 250. We do have 3 video uploads in the last 90 days. Yes. And then one of the following. So we need one of these. We need 3,000 valid public watch hours in the last year. 3,000 valid public watch hours. We have 82. Okay? We're not anywhere close. And then we need 3 million valid public shorts views in the last 90 days. 3 million views in the last 90 days. We have 4,500. We are not anywhere close to having a monetized channel. We're not making money off of this video. But the artists and this album that I'm showcasing will be making money off of this video, because I'm hoping that a lot of the listeners out there will see the video and then say, hey, I need to listen to that album. Anyway, that is the intro that I need to get through. If you watched it, thank you. I appreciate it. Gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be back to talk about Dirty Work by the Rolling Stones. Happy 40th birthday to Dirty Work by the Rolling Stones. Like I said, I've never done a video like this before where I'm reviewing an album as intense and detailed and long. And for the foreseeable future, I can't see myself doing it again. So why Dirty Work? Out of all the albums, anywhere, why am I doing it for Dirty Work? Well, I tell you, I listened to the album. I grew up listening to the songs like everyone else, right? And had plenty of vinyl, had plenty of cassettes. And I remember first hearing Dirty Work on a cassette when I think I had to have been around 14 or 15 years old when I heard the cassette. And I was just blown away by it. The energy and the excitement and how raw it was, and how anti-mid-80s that album was. And I loved it. I loved the album. And it wasn't until later on that I realized that this album typically is in the bottom row of when they rank the Rolling Stone albums. Dirty Work is always near the bottom. And it blows my mind. I'm like, what in the world? So, as a musician, I loved it. right? And as I continue on, decade after decade, being a musician, I get more and more intrigued by the musicianship on that album. As I've became a mix engineer and a producer, I go back and listen to that album, and I just keep getting blown away by it. The mix on that album is incredible. And I knew the 40th anniversary was coming up, and I felt really compelled to be like, you know what? I need to make my own review of Dirty Work for the birthday, and possibly give people different insight, a different viewpoint of the album. How I'm hearing it. Maybe how, and it may be one of those things where it's been in such a negative light for so long that people just roll with it and go, oh, well, if reviewers from 40 years ago say, then it's, Anyway, it is the 18th album. It is the first distributed by Columbia Records. They also offered individual projects, and that's when Jagger decided, oh, well, I don't think I have to tell the other members of the Rolling Stones, and I'm just going to sign a 3-record deal. Ooh. Bill Wyman and Ronnie Wood, they've already had out solo albums, but it was always on the basis of when the Rolling Stones aren't doing anything, that's when you're working on your album. If the Rolling Stones have a call and they're like, hey, we got to record an album, drop solo projects, Rolling Stones is first. That's priority. That didn't happen with Jagger this time around. In fact, he didn't show up until later on. So Keith and Ronnie wrote the bulk of the album. It was the first time that they worked with producer Steve Lillywhite and engineer Dave Jordan, and they were considered a dream team. And Dave Jordan even, are you ready for this? Even tuned Charlie Watts' drums, because Charlie often would just come in and drum. Why tune the drums? Why bother? Dave Jordan said, you know what? I'm going to tune them. I want this album to sound good. Dirty Work reached gold and platinum and hit top 10 in several countries. Most critics then and now say it's uneven, and I say, have you listened to Some Girls? I'm not knocking Some Girls, okay? But you're saying Dirty Work is uneven, but yet you're praising the Some Girls album by the Rolling Stones, and it sounds like they're chasing trends on that album to me. Again, I'm not knocking that. A lot of people love Some Girls. But you have disco, you have country, you have the elements of punk, you got some soul and new wave and soft rock. But then at the same time, the Rolling Stones are like, no, we're still stuck with our roots. Here's a Motown cover. And it's like, wow. I don't know. But the Dirty Work album is very anti-mid-80s, especially in contrast to the Graham Nash album that came out 4 days later, Innocent Eyes, that is super synthesized keyboard rock. And again, you know what? A lot of people don't like the Graham Nash album, Innocent Eyes. Reznor and I love it. I said we love it. Did you see him shake his head? He goes, yes. But great songs on that album. But anyway, so, they were trying to include some punk elements on Some Girls, but I think they inadvertently achieved it on Dirty Work. There's a lot of punk-sounding songs on that. Huh. Yeah, you know it. So, Keith Richards says that the songs for Dirty Work were structured to play live. I'm sorry, that was rude. That was rude. I shouldn't have laughed. It's just that, yeah, you can say that, but then you have to prove it. And they've only played 2 songs live off of that album. And they didn't tour on the last album, Undercover of the Night, but they've only played 2 songs off of that one. When they did the Emotional Rescue tour, they played 3 songs off of Emotional Rescue. Okay? So the Rolling Stones have this habit of being like, we got a new album out, we're going to go on tour to support the album, but we're only going to play 2 or 3 songs off of it, and then the rest are going to be from the Brian Jones era. Maybe we're throwing a couple from the Mick Taylor era. I guess we should throw in a couple that Ronnie Wood actually played on. But that's what the Rolling Stones do. So it's just hilarious to be like, oh, we structured the songs to play live, and well, prove it. Anyway, there's two covers. Vesner. There's two covers on the album, which are Harlem Shuffle and Too Rude. We will get into those. Keith and Ronnie brought in 4 songs: One Hit, Fight, Dirty Work, and Had It With You. Mick seemed to have brought in, I'm assuming, 3 songs: Hold Back, Winning Ugly, and then a song co-written by Chuck Leavell called Back to Zero. And it seems like Keith solely brought in Sleep Tonight. Bill Wyman, the bass player for the Rolling Stones. How many songs? 10 songs on Dirty Work. Let's see if you can guess this. You can put it in the comments. How many songs did Bill Wyman play bass on the Dirty Work album? Out of the 10 songs, how many? 3. 3. Their keyboardist, piano player, Ian Stewart. Ian was at the studio every night, cheering them on, being supportive. There was many times that Keith wanted to abandon the album. It's too tough. It's taking too long. There's too much friction. And Ian Stewart kept saying, you know what? See it through. Push through with it. All right? So, how many songs did Ian Stewart play on the Dirty Work album? Good guess, Reznor. But the guess is 0. 0? You're telling me that your piano player and your keyboardist is in the studio and you're not even using them? Wait a minute. No, there is one track that Ian plays on. But that's because, unfortunately, Ian started having respiratory problems in early December 1985. And about a week and a half later, he was in the waiting room to be checked out, and he died of a massive heart attack at the age of 47. So then they decided, hey, maybe we should put Ian on the album. So they take a 33-second snip of him playing the 1940 Charlie Seeger album or song, Key to the Highway. And they put it as a hidden track. And that should suffice. Yeah, okay. Anyway, Reznor and I are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about side 1 of Dirty Work. Are you ready, Reznor? Reznor and I made some notes about side 1 for Dirty Work, so we're going to get into it. When we're talking about timestamps, we're talking about the version that's in the description below the playlist, because that is the single edit from the video, not the album edit, even though you can hear all of these in the album version, just probably at different times. One Hit to the Body was the second single. It's the first single, though, that is credited to Ronnie Wood as being a co-writer. Go, Ronnie. The B-side is Fight. What I love about this, and it's insane, is because you have this song that's one hit to the body. There's this aggression. There's this intensity. And how does it start? With Ronnie Wood's acoustic guitar. They're trying to find something on the electric guitar, but Ronnie switched to acoustic. And how it's juxtaposed is just incredible, especially for the intro for the album. The electric guitars are fantastic. There's this guitar chirp harmonic that Keith does at the 1 minute, 1 second mark. The bridge at the 2 minute mark is incredible. Oh my God. The arrangement, just listen to the arrangement at the 2 minute and 13 mark. Okay? Listen to that arrangement. Anyway, Ronnie had called Jimmy Page to come over, and Ronnie added a solo before Mick's vocals were even recorded. So Jimmy didn't even know what the song was called. Even when the album came out, no one told Jimmy, hey, your solo's on there, and we named the song this, check it out. He found out in an interview. But Jimmy Page's solo is at 2 minutes and 38 seconds. And but Ronnie plays the solo in concert. Well, the 18 times they did it live in 1989. Yeah, structured for the live performances, huh, Keith? Anyway, check out the vocal delay and the vocal notes at the 2 minute 51 mark, and also the 3 minute and 57 mark, the vocal delay and the vocal note. 3 minute and 18, check out the arrangement with the backing vocalist. It is, so good. And then also, speaking backing vocalist, Bobby Womack and Don Covey sing backup on One Hit to the Body. And you may be asking, who's Bobby Womack and Don Covey? Well, we will get to there momentarily. Might be pronounced Covey, but I think it's Covey. Correct me if I'm wrong. Second track is the B-side to the second single, One Hit to the Body. This is the song Fight. Backing vocals include Ivan Neville and Steve Jordan. Steve Jordan, of course, now being the touring drummer and I guess studio drummer too for the Rolling Stones. Keith always said that the guitars reminded him of like Jumpin' Jack Flash, Street Fightin' Man, Brown Sugar, had those kind of structures and vibe about it. Ronnie plays bass, great bass playing. He is just hopping and jumping all over the place. The 1 minute and 5 mark when Mick Jagger sings, "What I want is power, more power. What I need is an innocent life." Oh my God, his vocal delivery in that is just crazy. And the thing I love about this album is Mick's vocal delivery. He sounds like a lion on a lot of these tracks, just roaring, ripping through this prey. It's incredible. Check out the second chorus. The reason why is Charlie's hi-hat, 1 minute 22 seconds. He just comes in just accenting. Keith's solo, 1 minute 35 seconds. Check out how he ends the solo. And then that goes into this incredible scream that happens at the 1 minute 58 mark as well. That whole setup is just intense. It's so cool. Ronnie apparently plays the B string bender on this song. I can't hear it unless he's doing it in an unorthodox way. I can't hear where it is on the song. Maybe it's low in the mix. I don't know. If you hear the B string bender, which makes it sound like a pedal steel, in the song Fight, can you timestamp me, and let me know where you hear it at? Because I can't hear. I've tried with headphones. I've tried through my monitors. Unless it's one of those things where he did play it and they marked it, but then they took it out last minute and they already had everything printed up. I don't know. But anyway, help me out on that, would you? Quick water break. Man, I'm doing a lot of talking in this video, and I'm a Gemini, but whew. Anyway, Harlem Shuffle. That is the third track, and that is the first cover of the Dirty Work album by the Rolling Stones. It was originally by Bob and Earl, the original Bob being Bobby Day, who had Rockin' Robin, but he left before they did this song in 1963. The B-side is Had It With You, which I find interesting. Okay. They did the song in 2 takes. They played it 107 times live. Of course, that's because, these songs are structured to play live, huh, Keith? Mostly in 1989 and 1990. But then 29 years later, in 2019, they remembered they had the song and they said, hey, let's pull it out again and play it. Dust it off. Keith kept trying to get Mick to play Harlem Shuffle. So for half a decade, he kept giving him these mix cassettes with Harlem Shuffle just kind of in there somewhere to get into Mick's subconscious, right? Now, I don't know if the DMCA would approve of that now, Keith, because royalties and, taking away money from Bob and Earl. That's all I'm saying, okay? I'm sure there could have been a copyright claim on that back in the day, but you lucked out. Anyway, so they finally, Ronnie and Keith were jamming on the song. Sounded like Charlie and Bill were probably there. Mick comes into rehearsal finally. He remembered that he had a band called the Rolling Stones, and he wasn't a solo artist. And he gets into the rehearsal, and they're playing Harlem Shuffle, and he gets right to the mic, and he just starts singing it right away. Because it's in his subconscious. And then Mick's like, why don't we cut the song for the album? And Keith's like, wow, Mick, good idea. Never would have thought of that. Totally paraphrasing. That is not verbatim. The intro, the original intro had the horn section. So they didn't want to duplicate that, so they used their guitars and vocals to kind of emulate or even simulate the the build-up for that intro. Listen to Bill Wyman's incredible bass playing and slides. His slides really help move it to the left and to the right in the song. The guitar hammerings at 1 minute 23 are incredible. There's at 2 minutes and 3 seconds, there is this, and I don't know who's playing which guitar. I don't know, I'm sorry. But one guitar is playing this kind of staccato picking, and the other guitar comes in with like this half bend, like this bend half harmonic sound, and it's so cool. The guitars are so conversational in this song, as with a lot of this album, but like put on headphones and listen to the guitars conversing back and forth, and it's like they're just carrying on a conversation. It's incredible. The 2 minute 15 mark to the 2:30 mark, the vocal harmony. And then there's this restrained tension that the music is creating between 2 minutes 15, 2 minutes 30, and it is incredible. So you hear a voice at 1 minute 45, Bobby Womack. You'll hear his voice every so often in the song. And who's Bobby Womack? Him and Don Covey both sing backup on this track. So let's get into really quickly who they are. Bobby Womack was with a band called the Valentinos, and they had a song called It's All Over Now. And the Stones first heard it on the Wind Show, and they wanted to cover the song. Womack told Jagger, get your own song. And Womack was talking to Sam Cooke about it, and Sam Cooke said, you know what? Let him cover it. Let him cover it. So the Rolling Stones covered It's All Over Now. It became their first #1 hit. And 6 months later, when Womack received the royalty check, he said to the Rolling Stones, you can cover any song of mine you want. But check out this crazy timeline. Okay, ready? The Valentinos recorded It's All Over Now March 1964. It was released 2 months later in late May. The Rolling Stones heard it on June 1st. Then they recorded it on June 10th. And then they released it on June 26th. All in 1964. Isn't that insane, the timeline? And honestly, I wish more bands today were like that. Where like, you know, a band releases a song and then another band hears it and goes, oh, that's their latest single. Like, whoa, I want to do a cover of that and release that as a single. Because, you know what? You're helping out everybody. But anyway, maybe one day. Don Covey had the song Mercy, Mercy. And that was a song in 1964. And the Rolling Stones covered it a year later on their third album, Out of Our Heads. And that was their first #1 album. So, Don Covey and Bobby Womack singing harmony on the album is incredible. Let's continue on. We got 2 more songs to do, and then we're going to take another quick break. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this whole time. I hope you're enjoying it, but we got plenty more to go. Anyway, next track is Hold Back. It was one of the last songs recorded, and it was considered a leftover. You know what? It was actually my second favorite. It was my second least favorite song off of Dirty Work. So I could see why it was considered a leftover. But they love the arrangement and they love Charlie's drumming on it. Thank you, Dave Jordan, for tuning Charlie's drums. And Ivan Neville plays bass on it. Check this out. Ronnie is playing his guitar solo through a 1940s RCA amplifier that could run on batteries. That's his solo. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's get to some timestamps. Check out the odd timing in the intro. It's like, it's weird how it comes in, but then when the rest of the band comes in, it's like slightly off. It's really interesting. Like I said, I feel like the song is undeveloped, and it would have worked good on Steel Wheels. If they would have given the song more time, it would have worked really good on Steel Wheels. The time marks 1:12 and 2:17 when Mick Jagger comes in singing Be Bold, Baby. Oh my God, that's like maybe my favorite part of the song. Yeah, be bold, baby. At a minute 54, there's this uplift in the song that happens when the solo comes in. And it's just, it's crazy. It takes you to a whole other area. There's a great performance vocal. And the delay on Mick's voice is just incredible in the song. Listen to the delay. You might need to have headphones because it's not like an apparent delay. It's like after he gets done singing, you hear the delay. And it is great. And his vocal performance is great. The lyrics are incredible. Love the lyrics. Ivan Neville on bass, the timestamp 3 minutes and 8 seconds. He does a little slap bass thing. You hear it? What? And then the 40-second outro is intensely provoking. This album has some really good outros. And Hold Back is one of them. So, I'll tell you honestly. Like I said, Hold Back used to be my least second favorite song on the album. Maybe it still is. But when I tune in and listen to it, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in Hold Back. I think it's easy to just kind of glance at it and go, oh, okay. But when you dig in, it's some good stuff. Last song on side 1, Dirty Work, the Rolling Stones. Too Rude. It's a cover. I don't know why they called it Too Rude, because the original song is called Win Some, and it's by Half Pint. It came out in 1984. So Keith heard it in Jamaica in 1984. And in 1985, Keith was doing more things that the DMCA would not approve of, and he made a cassette of that song, looping it over and over and over again. And he would listen to it on the 20-minute ride to the studio for like a couple months. Just over and over, he listened to it. And I hope Half Pint finally got royalties for all that time that Keith listened to it. So this led to Keith and Ronnie jamming on it, and eventually it was cut for the album. Luckily, producer Steve Lillywhite also was familiar with how to mix a reggae song, so they didn't have to call someone else in. Steve's like, I got it. Ronnie plays bass and drums. And listen to the personality of the drums. Oh my God, Ronnie. The reverb and the delay on the instruments and how they work with the dynamics and the arrangement is hypnotizing. Just get lost in it, man. Get lost in it. And it's great to hear Ronnie's voice so clear in the harmony with Keith, Ronnie, and Jimmy Cliff. But yeah, I love hearing Ronnie's voice in that song. It's like you can hear him. You can hear him so clear. The vocal delay loop at 2:35. Are you kidding me? Ooh. And the last 20 seconds, again, we're talking about the outros on some of this album. The last 20 seconds sounds like a puzzle falling into place. And it's magical. And I love it. So, that concludes side 1 of Dirty Work. I know, like I said, this is a long video. I've never made a video like this before. And in the foreseeable future, I can't really see myself making one like this again. I hope that you are enjoying it so far. But I can imagine that there's probably a lot of people that might be bored with it already. And I get it. But you know what? To those of you that are still here and enjoying this and taking notes, thank you. We'll be right back for side 2 of Dirty Work. Back with side 2 of Dirty Work by the Rolling Stones. And I just want to say really quickly something about the album cover, though. I'm a Gemini. I love vibrant colors. I love orange, pink, mint green, right? I love the album cover. Like, for my eyes, I'm like, oh, there's so much here going on. Everything's so vibrant and vivid, and it's just like, oh, it's right there. I love it. Anyway, Winning Ugly is the first track off of side 2, and it's one of the rare, quickly recorded songs. Check out John Reagan's bass playing in that song. He's performed with David Bowie, Frehley's Comet, Peter Frampton, Billy Idol. So John Reagan's bass playing is... I would love to know if they had that bass line written out for him, or if that was his idea. But man, Keith has said that the guitar riff that he does is kind of an elongated version of tumbling dice. Said it's the same kind of structure and fingering and all that stuff. That's all it is. I guess he's had so many people ask him, "Hey, show me how to play that riff in Winning Ugly." And he said that he could have actually made a career out of just being a guitar teacher, teaching that riff. There's also some really fun, subtle upstrokes in the guitar strumming that Ronnie and Keith do. They learned down in Mexico. Chuck Leavell's synthesizer uplifts the song. Oh man, that is a good use of, and a tasteful use of synthesizer. That is nice. Mick's vocal performance is incredible. Like most of this album, it's incredible. Listen to Ronnie and Keith's guitar playing. Listen to the guitar battle that's going on. It's intense. You know, they're both trying to win. They're both trying to get that spot. There's a ton of word painting in this song, which is inspiring and wild and just brings a huge smile to my face. Now, some of you may be asking, what is word painting? Word painting is when the music matches the lyrics, right? So I have some fun timestamps for you again. So 1 minute 3 seconds to 1 minute 15 seconds. Listen to those blues riffs that are being played on guitar when Jagger is singing, "And we're headed for the heartbreak, heading for the blues." Man. At 2:18, right before, I think it was right before Jagger sings, "But back in the dressing room, the other side is screaming." There's this aggressive guitar that comes chunking in. There's also, if you listen between 1 minute 54 seconds and 1 minute 58 seconds, they start playing a reggae number on their guitar, like a reggae riff. It's just like there's so much ear candy. It's great. The bridge at minute 23 and 3 minutes and 3 seconds, aside from John Reagan's bass playing, that might be my favorite part of this. But I love this song. Okay, but the bridge is 8 measures, and the first 4 are a build-up, and the last 4 is where it lifts and it just blossoms, and it actually kind of sounds like the Allman Brothers band from like the early 80s vibe. It's crazy. And you know, there's a number of arrangement things going on this album, like Winning Ugly, and I think also the song Dirty Work, where I listen and I go, you know what? I don't know if that's a bridge or if that's not a chorus. I don't think it's a chorus. Like, I think it's some kind of bridge. So I love that. Very creative. The backing vocals by Janice Pendarvis and Dolette McDonald. Chef's kiss. Again, that just makes the song. Everything makes the song. Winning Ugly. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, back to zero. Keith and Bobby Womack are actually playing the guitars. Ronnie's not playing guitars. He's on bass. This is my least favorite song on the album. It would have worked better as probably a David Bowie song, or, dare I say it, okay, stick with me here, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Think about it. Listen to the music for Back to Zero. And think about Red Hot Chili Peppers in the 80s. Yeah. The lyrics are unfortunately probably more relevant today than they were back 40 years ago. So it just shows how we're not really evolving or progressing as humans. Go us. Anyway, at 127, there's this bass slide that Ronnie does. And he does a few slides in the song, but the one at minute 27 is so good. And like I said, it's my least favorite song on the album. And it's a little too dance, it's a little too disco, it's a little too pop, maybe even slightly, there's other things in there. But it's like when you bypass the genre and listen to what each instrument is doing, It's really thrilling. It really is. It's like, wow, oh, wow, okay, yeah. So take a listen to Back to Zero, but listen to the instruments. Don't pay attention to the genre. Listen to the instruments. The song Dirty Work. Put your headphones on. Listen to the guitars. Just listen to the guitars. They are frantic. They are knocking each other over. They are coming to blows. I mean, they are just... Oh, I love it. The guitars in the song Dirty Work is just incredible. Even the drums at 1 minute 20 seconds sound like they're throwing punches and trying to defend themselves. It's, it's crazy. It almost sounds like it gets slightly, like just a half beat out of step. I was trying to go along with it, metronome wise, but I was like, I can't really tell. But anyway, there is a soundscape that happens in the song, in the intro, between 7 seconds and 11 seconds, and it descends. And it descends right when, like, it ends when the bass comes in at 11 seconds, because the intro doesn't have a bass. And if you hear that soundscape in the background, and then boom, the bass comes in. Wow. The arrangement changes at 55 seconds and at 1 minute 39 seconds. The arrangement changes have such an eerie vibe. Keith's solo. Check out that solo that Keith does. That is an incredible solo. And what makes it even... the Mick does this howl behind the guitar solo, and it just makes it haunting. It's this real, like, primal howl. And then Charlie's hi-hat accenting that starts around 2 minutes and 29 seconds just keeps forcing the song onward. And we talked about some of the outros on the album. We've talked about some of the outros, how they're incredible. And this is another one where the last minute outro for the song Dirty Work, with those effects, and there's those end howls that at 3 minutes and 16 seconds that are spine chilling. And it just sounds like you're lost in a haunted swamp. The last minute of that song, it does. It sounds like you're lost in a haunted swamp, and it is a trip. That song, Dirty Work. I love that song, Dirty Work. I was almost gonna say, do I love side 2 better than side 1? I don't know. Back to Zero was on side 2, so I don't know. Maybe we can swap a couple songs out. But anyway, the song after that is the what is it? It is the B-side to the first single. So the B-side was Had It With You, which is weird that they would choose Had It With You as a B-side. I don't know. Okay. But it was recorded in a couple takes. Ronnie said, hey, I want you 3 original members to go in and record the song live, and I'm just going to be in the control room, and, and there's no bass on the song. Poor Bill. On the song Dirty Work, he played bass. Yeah, 3 songs. So there's no bass on this song. But Ronnie plays the saxophone. Because you know what? I tell you, Ronnie is doing anything he can to keep this album going. Right? He is like, you need songs? I got 4 of them. You need me to play guitar solos? I got it. You need me to play bass guitar? Got it. You need me to play drums? Got it. Saxophone? I'm here. Ronnie was like showing up. And of course, so was Keith, and so was Ian Stewart. You wouldn't know, but he was. But yeah, I mean, Ronnie was really just all over the place, and I love it. Good job, Ronnie. Mick plays the harmonica on the song. It's the only instrument Mick plays on the whole album, because he came in so late to the album. A lot of things were done, so he added harmonica to this song. It's wild to me. They did record a version. Like the version that they recorded did have bass, piano, it had additional guitars. But then they decided to take all that out and give it more of a live radio broadcast feel. So I hope they didn't delete those, and I wonder if those are out there somewhere. I would love to hear Had It With You with an alternate version, you know. This song really could have been on Exile on Main Street. Listen to it. Couldn't have been like right next to like Casino Boogie and Rip This Joint, or somewhere like, you know, probably side one of Exile on Main Street. The song just jives like it's no one's business. And I love the lyric, you know, you're a mean mistreater, a dirty, dirty rascal. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the 12s by Kokomo Arnold. And I feel like they kind of revisited the vibe of this song 8 years later when they did Mean Disposition, which was a bonus track on the CD for Voodoo Lounge, because we're pushing CDs at this point, remember? So it's like, you know, same way with well, that was actually 7 years earlier, Michael Jackson with Bad, you know, but you're pushing CDs, so it's like, well, if you want an extra song, you need to buy the CD. If not, right? Pushing CDs. Anyway, the last song on Dirty Work. If I was ever going to cover a Rolling Stones song, I think it might be Sleep Tonight. I think that might be the one. Keith is incredible on the song. The piano, he plays all the guitars, acoustic and electric. Like, oh my God, they're just so beautiful. And he plays bass on it. Ronnie plays drums. And the dynamics and the arrangement is just inspiring. The acoustic guitar is actually the high-strung Nashville tuning that he used on the 1969, well, recorded, I believe, in 1969, Wild Horses, even though it didn't get released until 2 years later, because Graham Parsons had to, you know, had to benefit first with Persuasions. So then, you know, Keith forgot about that tuning for about like 16 years until he was talking with Alan Rogan and Joe Walsh. And he was, oh yeah, that tuning. So he uses the tuning on this song. Bobby Womack, Don Covey come back in singing harmony. Oh my God. Speaking of the harmony, listen to how the first 15 seconds of the intro comes floating in. All of those vocalizations, just everything, just slowly coming into place. It's like you're laying down in bed. Word painting. Maybe that's more setting a scene since there's no lyrics there. But Keith wrote it on piano and he thought he ripped it off from another song. And he kind of kept carrying it around with him. And I think All About You was the same way. And they were like, everyone was like, no, I don't think it's an original. And he's like, this can't be an original. This is not this is not in my DNA, you know? But apparently it was. So the lyrics are heart-wrenching. And the way he sings at the 2-minute mark, the stars stare down in sympathy, the way he sings that. And at 2:56, he gets real Bob Dylan-ish when he sings. The way he delivers, they robbed you of your dignity. They even steal your heart from me. And Keith's vocal delivery is intense. And there's this fright and yearning in his vocals throughout the whole song. And that unexpected change in the arrangement at 3 minutes and 21 seconds is intense. And he does a vocal run. Keith does a vocal run? This is why I knew for the 40th anniversary of Dirty Work, happy birthday, Dirty Work, that I needed to make a video that highlights and showcases a different viewpoint, kind of a set of different ears maybe, of what's going on with the Dirty Work album by the Rolling Stones, and why I loved it as a kid, and why I continue to love it and find inspiration in it as I continue being a musician, a songwriter, arranger, producer, mix engineer. I can go back to this album time and time again and be blown away by it. So, if you stayed with me throughout I don't know, this is probably almost an hour. I thank you. And I hope you're inspired. And I hope you go back and you listen to the playlist down below in the description that has the album and that has the songs that we also mentioned as well by the other artists. So you can dig in and maybe listen with a whole new perspective and a whole new appreciation of Dirty Work by the Rolling Stones, which was released 40 years ago today. Happy birthday, Dirty Work!